Old man in his 70s standing on the steps of a small wooden house on the quiet outskirts of Osaka. The morning air is still. He's sweeping slowly, deliberately, the way someone sweeps when they have nowhere else to be. That house? He paid it off more than 20 years ago. He never earned a high salary. He never opened a brokerage account. He never once sat down with a spreadsheet to track his expenses. And yet, by the time he turned 50, he had built something that most people spend their entire lives chasing and never quite reach. Not luxury, not fame, but a life that was fully, quietly, completely his own. No debt, no panic, no financial fear hanging over every decision. Just freedom, the slow, unspectacular kind that only comes from decades of small, invisible choices. So the question worth asking is this: how does a man with an ordinary income, no financial education, and no investing strategy end up with more security than people who earn twice what he earned and read every personal finance book ever written? The answer is not what you would expect, and by the end of this video you'll understand it completely. Welcome to School by Sora, the channel. We take the ideas that actually change lives and make them simple enough to use starting today. If this is your first time here, you're in the right place. Now, before I tell you the first habit that shaped that man's financial life, I want you to sit with a question for a moment. Why is it that two people can earn the exact same income, same job, same city, same salary, and one of them feels perpetually broke while the other quietly, steadily builds a life of freedom? It isn't luck, it isn't raw intelligence, and it isn't even discipline in the way most people mean it. It's something more structural than that. It's a system. A system made of small decisions repeated automatically, day after day, until those decisions stop feeling like decisions at all. And the first piece of that system has a name most people outside Japan have never heard: Sumitate. It means to accumulate steadily, to build something quietly over time, without friction, without drama, without willpower. Here is how it actually works. In Japan, it is common practice to move a fixed amount of money into savings the moment income arrives, before a single yen is available to spend. Before you see it sitting in your account. Before your brain has a chance to do what brains always do, which is justify spending it. The money is simply gone from reach. And what remains is what you live on. Now here is what makes this psychologically different from ordinary budgeting. It isn't a goal you have to feel motivated to chase. It isn't a rule you have to remember to follow. It's a mechanism, a quiet, automatic mechanism that works whether you're in a good mood or a terrible one, whether the month is hard or easy. And for decades, habits built around this principle helped Japan maintain one of the highest household savings rates among developed nations. Here is the thing most people get completely wrong. They try to save what is left at the end of the month. And the brutal truth is that there is almost never anything left. Money behaves like water. It fills every container you give it. Give it a month's worth of space and it will use every bit of it. Sumitate reverses the entire equation. You do not save what is left after spending. You spend what is left after saving. That one inversion, that single structural shift, is often the entire difference between feeling stuck and quietly building freedom. Your first tactic is this. Pick a number. It does not have to be impressive. 3%, 5%, a small fixed amount each week. What matters far more than the size is this: automate it. Set it to move on the day your income arrives, into an account you do not casually check. Because the moment saving becomes automatic instead of a daily decision, you have removed the hardest part of the entire process. But now, let me ask you something. Think of something you bought recently that you barely used. A piece of clothing still folded with the tag on. A gadget still half charged on a shelf. Something that felt necessary in the store and pointless 2 weeks later. Hold that feeling, because that feeling is at the very heart of the second habit, Mottainai. Loosely translated, it means what a waste. But that translation doesn't quite capture it. Mottainai is not just a word. It is a feeling, a quiet, genuine discomfort that arises when something of value is wasted, discarded, or left unused. In most modern spending cultures, the question we ask before a purchase is, can I afford this? But Mottainai asks something completely different. Will this be wasted? That shift changes everything about how you spend. Because if affordability is your only filter, you will spend right up to the edge of what you can afford, every single time. But when waste feels genuinely uncomfortable, when you can already picture the item sitting unused, taking up space, slowly becoming guilt, you start choosing differently. You buy fewer things. You choose more carefully. You avoid clutter before it enters your life. And interestingly, people who live this way do not describe feeling restricted. They describe feeling lighter, because everything they own has earned its place. Your second tactic. Before any non-essential purchase, pause and ask honestly, will this become wasted? If the answer, truthfully, is yes, leave it. That one question, applied consistently, saves more than most elaborate budgeting systems ever will. And now we come to the third habit, the one that ties everything together and turns daily behavior into long-term wealth. Nagaku Tsukau. It means to use for a long time. The idea is straightforward and quietly radical at the same time. Buy fewer things but use them far longer. A well-made jacket worn for a decade. Shoes repaired rather than replaced. A kitchen knife maintained properly rather than swapped out for something cheaper and newer. This is where financial literacy becomes genuinely practical. Imagine two people. One buys the cheaper option, repeatedly replacing it every year or two, never quite satisfied, always looking for the next version. The other buys something better once, takes care of it, and keeps it for years. Over time, the second person almost always spends less. They own fewer things, they create less waste, and they carry far less of that low-level financial anxiety that comes from always feeling like you're running to catch up, because the cheapest option up front is rarely the cheapest option over time. Your final tactic. Instead of asking, what does this cost, ask, how long will I use this and what does that make it cost per year? That reframe changes how you see value entirely. So here's where we land. Save automatically before you can spend it. Let discomfort with waste guide your choices. Buy less, buy better, use it longer. 3 habits. No complex systems. No financial jargon. Just small decisions made consistently over years. Because financial literacy was never really about math. It was always about behavior, how you move through money every single day. Not to chase more but to need less, with intention. If something in this video shifted the way you're thinking, share it with someone who's still trying to budget their way out of habits that budgets can't reach. And if you want more, we've already done a deep dive into Japanese frugal habits that make you feel genuinely rich even on a modest income. Sounds unlikely, I know. But once you see it, it's hard to unsee. Subscribe to School by Sora and come find it. We'll see you in the next one.